Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we're going to do or discuss my guide on the Gouga brutal quest for Nivlu's bow, the killer bow. And I've made this diagram for you guys to see how it works. So this is at the bottom side. So there are two sides on the map. There's like the bottom and the top side. So this side is the bottom side, where we have three water type units. Two of them are gunners and one of them is a paladin, and we have Raryu, who's also a gunner. The gunners here are weak to missile and is also weak to lightning. So they have 25 def and 45 SPR. That means magic won't be a good option here because they have such high SPR. You would probably need a lot of SPR penetration to make things work. Plus, they have 25 def, so definitely you would need a def penetration unit to whittle them down. And the paladin also has a physical barrier, and he always has the first turn regardless of his agi or speed. So Raryu, on the other hand, is weak to slash and is weak to light element, but has a disable arm shot. These four are probably the most annoying ones that you have to clear out first. So there. The second or the top lane consists of two teams or two enemy teams. The first team being Zazan and two water healers. So Zazan is just annoying. He has confuse and charm but has low damage, and the healers they're just an annoying team because they have raise and heals. Apologies if you hear, actually I can't hide anywhere. Like, a lot of people is working on our house, so even though if I move away, I have no choice. So the third team is the team that will probably do a lot of damage besides the first team at the bottom, because they all have sharpshoots. So evade units that are weak to missile are probably not good here. Plus, they have Nivlu here, who is weak to earth and has disable and all that abilities. So this is what the whole map looks like. We have a hill here, or a elevation here where our allied team 2 can be placed. So the enemy team 1, as I've mentioned earlier, is composed of 3 missile units and 1 slash, and the 1 slash unit always gets the first turn, while the enemy team 2 has 2 healers and 1 slash, which is Zazan, and 3 missiles for the enemy team 3 on an elevation. And also our allied team 1 here is at the back or at another corner of the map without an elevation. So this is where they're placed. So I would suggest, or how I would attack this, is your allied team 2 will be your tank healer team. You would probably need 2 tanks, because you would need to alternately push the hit on these tanks in order for them to survive, or just so that all of the enemies will be focused on your left flank or here at the elevation, and then your attack team or allied team 1 can focus on attacking behind and then around everyone else, while all of the enemies are focused on this elevation, which is also helpful because gunners have poor height on their range. So yeah, so you need all your tanks on the elevation while your attack units attack at the back. Another option would be all your tanks are here. If you have a tank with good missile resist, you can switch positions. The tanks can be at where Allied Team 1 is placed, and you put all of your attack units at the elevation. But beware that Zazan here goes to the elevation almost always and tries to charm one of your units, which is dangerous. That's why I prefer the tanks to be here, tanks that have charm resist, so that he can't charm. So another thing is he also does confuse, so that's why I want tanks with minimal damage here and easily accessible by the healer. Plus 3 versus 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 is more easier than 2 versus everyone else. That's why I opted for them to be in the elevation. Another thing to note, this is a map with no area attacks, so unit attack resistance is of higher value here because the enemy units, since almost all of them are missile, tend to chain off one another. So unit attack resistance helps mitigate that chaining damage. So that's the game plan. So you would need to keep hate here so that the two attackers can focus on backstabbing everyone else. So that's the strategy. Let's go on to who will compose the teams. So this is Allied Team 1, which are the attackers. The number one thing you should have is def penetration, because as I've said, these units have good def pen but pretty bad resistance against missile. So Nivlu, our top units, remember there are 2 units for Allied Team 1, so one of them will be the main attacker and the other one can become the support attacker. So the main attacker here can be the following: Nivlu, Venera on double gunner, and Lucia on double gunner. The reason why is because they have ample enough def penetration, they have missile attacks, and they have access to AoE missile attacks. There is no need for long range here. That's why Frederica is not at the top, because the map is not that large. It's actually pretty small considering. The support DPS can be Luartha and Frederica and Mustejo. Despite Luartha having huge def penetration, she has the elemental disadvantage among the 3. So it might be a problem, although I don't have her. She might be good on this map still just because she has that huge damage. But other than that, she has abysmal elemental advantage on this map because most of the units here are water units. While Frederica has no def penetration despite having the elemental advantage. So she's still gonna have problems trying to one-shot these enemy units. While Mustejo does not have the elemental advantage but is still a missile attack unit, so he still can provide support or missile chain. So notes on double gunners: try to turn off the buffs and low AP cost skills, because these units I think have high unit resistance, so actually doing area attacks do better damage, and just turning off the low cost AP skills forces the double gunners to use bells, because if not, they will not use the bells. Another option would be slash attackers, mainly Orlandu and Super Stern. The enemy units on the bottom has pierce resistance. Although I think Cain might still be a good option for this map, but I'm not sure because they have pierce resistance. But yeah, he might be good. Super Stern and Orlando are good here because Orlando has the elemental advantage while Super Stern has def penetration. And Orlando might have a little bit of a harder time just because he has like missile weakness, but if you get to remedy that, he will do great, I think, on this map because he has def down and elemental advantage, while Super Stern has def pen. So magic users, as I've said, is not recommended just because the enemy units have high SPR. And of course, recommended TMR for attackers is always Bells or Oldoa's Apron. For espers, I would recommend Odin or Tetrasilphid for obvious reasons. So Odin is Man-Eater, since all of the units here are man, and then missile resistance. While Tetrasilphid has missile attack up, and I don't think anything else is there for Tetra. Other espers would be Agayon, which has Water Eater, but he has like 50-50 mag attack stat, so yeah, I don't know about that. That's why he's just there. Water Eater is good here just because it just deals double like damage to water units. Ogre is good as well because he has Water Eater but has very low agi. Since this map is full of gunners, these guys are pretty fast, high agi, moving around. So having a slow unit might not be a good idea. But if you have a really fast unit and you want Water Eater, I don't think that agi would be so bad. Vision cards. So we have Frederica's Dream and New Study Specimen, I think is the name. Frederica's Dream and NSS both have missile attack, but NSS is better just because it has unit attack resistance, which I said is helpful for this map because all of the gunners here have single target attacks that they chain. Otherwise, yeah. But you can't pair it with Odin because Odin has a unit attack party buff, and it's gonna cancel each other out. So you might want to pick another vision card to pair with NSS. But if you use Frederica's Dream, Odin is a good option. And then we have Ifrit and Odin. Ifrit is for attack up only if you don't have Odin. Odin is best here, as I've said, Man-Eater plus unit attack. I think I explained enough already why you would want these cards. So for slashers, the basic ones you would need is of course Agayon, Echoing Screams, and Exorcist. This would replace Frederica's Dream and NSS, but Odin is supposed to be always there because you need that unit attack rest for the party and also Man-Eater. So that's the Allied Team 1. That's Allied Team 1, which is located here at the bottom, and there's only 2 of them. Allied Team 2, which is your tank team and your healer team, must have high missile resistance, disable resistance, and charm resistance. So for tanks, we have Ffbe, Cecil, and Agrias, and Whisper as options. So why Ffbe? Well, Ffbe has high missile resistance. I think it's around 15%. Has taunt spell and can have hate. So taunt spell is a pretty cheap spell, or taunting spell is a pretty cheap hate spell to use. That's why she's also a good option. Plus, she has no elemental disadvantages on this map, and she's a great counter for Nivlu. You would want Cecil on your the side or the slot near Zazan because he's resistant to charm and he has pretty hefty def, but you have to build his missile resistance because I think he has negative missile resistance, so you would want to equip him with his armor, the one you got from FF, or a helmet to increase his missile resistance. And he also has a disable ability which is pretty useful. Agrias also has charm resistance and taunting blade, but she doesn't use it that much just because its AP cost is so high. So yeah, she's a good option too for the tank slot near Zazan. Whisper could be good because she has disable res and taunt spell as well, which is a pretty cheap spell. So you can build her missile resistance pretty high. I'm not sure how high because I haven't maxed any missile res item, but the most I can get I think is around 70 to 80% missile resistance, which is pretty good. So my recommended TMR for tanks is Treacherous Pride, just because, as I've said, or I think Stern's TMR also, because as I've said, unit attack resistance is important here. So those TMRs raise unit attack resistance. Healers. For healers, I would suggest Rosa, Ildira, Grace, and Fina. The reason why Rosa is because she has missile attack, which is helpful because almost everybody on the map is weak to missile on the bottom side, and she also has disable resistance and has high missile res. So yeah, pretty good. And then you have Ildira, which probably the less recommended one along with Fina because she has negative missile resistance, so you have to build that. But she has disable resistance and has a wide range heal, which is good because you can reach the attackers at the back. And she's also water, so she can mitigate some of the water. She has, it's not, her elemental disadvantage is not that bad. The next one is Grace, which I think is the best option just because she has high missile resistance, she has disable resistance, charm resistance, and has access to full life. So she's good. I think she's gonna be great on this map even though I didn't build her. Fina is good also because she has a little bit of charm resistance, high missile attack, heals, and full life. I would suggest TMR for these healers would be Victory Ribbon, just to nullify disable on our tanks so they can still attack despite being arm shot or trying, all of these other units trying to disable our tank. For Espers, the tank for Espers that I would suggest would be Siren, just because it has water resistance on its board and also speed for tanks. Speed is still necessary here. Remember, I mentioned that most of these gunner units have high agi and are speedy units. So yeah, speed is necessary. Siren is still good for, I guess, Ffbe. Odin is also good just because he has missile resistance and man-eater, obviously. Golem is good for defense and man-eater, but I would rather build missile resistance than def, just because Nivlu has def penetration. So it's more advantageous to build missile resist, which cannot be affected on this map. For healers, I would suggest Shiva for speed, because I've said this map needs speed, and also magic attack. While another suggestion would be Bloody Moon, which has missile resistance and charm rest, but has less speed than Shiva. So yeah. For vision cards, I would suggest Snow White Guard because of missile resistance and slash resistance on your first tank or one of your tanks. And on your support, I would suggest Cleansing the Mind MR card. All of these almost are MR cards, because it provides missile attack resistance to all of your units, which is always good. Vow of Love, you put it on one of your tanks just so the hate can be evenly distributed to the two. And then lastly, we have Mask of Deceit, which has missile resistance and man eater, which can be placed on your support. I don't think it has hate. It only has hate when you put it on Mont. That's why I mentioned you put it on a support. So that's all of the discussion that I'm gonna do. It's not really that complicated. You just need some def piercing unit, missile and high missile. You just need a def piercing unit and a healer unit with a high missile resist, and you're good to go. And also has, some charm and disable. That's why Stern is pretty good, because he has both. So yeah, here's the demo reel for my run and how I build my team. So, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and I hope you learned something today. Bye.